Okay. It is Monday. It is art day. And we are going to work on the next gift in line. We finished the 2 ornaments for the mother-in-law and her sister last week. And that was these 2. Even though this was a matte finish on the sealer, they're still a little bit shiny, so they came out pretty good. Pretty happy with those. You might be able to hear our wind chimes in the background. I'm not sure if they're getting picked up. It is really windy out there. They've put us under a wind advisory. So, hopefully the power doesn't go. So we're going to work on my mom's today. We're keeping up with the tissue paper art, but she can't fit any more ornaments on her tree, and her tree is not that big. She's got a little small guy. So we're going to do it on a canvas so she can hang it on her wall. This is one of the 6x6 canvases I picked up during one of Michael's canvas sales. So I'd gotten it super cheap. This is 6x6. Seems a little excessive on the extra back here, but that's alright. Anybody else love the smell of opening a new canvas, or am I just weird? I love that smell. I don't know if it's the wood. I guess it's the wood and the stretcher bars. I love it. It smells comforting, as oddly as that is to say. There's glitter all over the place. We were decorating for Christmas this week. It's a very busy week. So I have a Rooster cookie cutter here. It's a very large Rooster cookie cutter. We had used one of these cookie cutters in the past to make the clay rooster ornaments for her tree the one year. She's into roosters, so we're just kind of going with it. Trying to figure out where looks like a good place to position this guy. That's probably not too bad. So, gonna get my pencil. Oh, that could be a problem. My pencil doesn't fit into the cutter. Okay. Alright, that's okay. We can improvise. This is just to kind of give us the basic shape anyhow. Just so I didn't have to do a transfer. I was like, oh, we'll just use this. You know, I'm dumb. We could just trace the outside of it. I'd probably still have the same issue, though. Tell you what. We'll trace the outside of it, and we'll see which line looks better. So we can definitely get around these corners a little bit easier. So we're gonna trace it. It's just basically a larger stencil in all reality here. Don't be moving on me. And then we're going to transform it into something else. Well, I mean, it's still going to be a rooster, but... Or we're hoping it still looks rooster-like by the time we are done. That will remain to be seen. Okay. So that outside line, even though it doesn't look it, is probably going to be our cleaner line. We're just gonna come back in and clean this boy up a little bit and get a different bit of eraser here. Want the white one or do I want, let's go with the kneaded, right? Okay. See what we can do about cleaning this guy up just a little bit. We can still, I mean, the pencil lines don't need to go away. It's fine. It won't matter in the end. Not one bit. I'm just cleaning it up a little bit so we don't get too confused about where our lines are gonna go. But, you know, sometimes you can think you're following one, when in reality, you should be following the other. So we're supposed to have a chance of rain off and on today, and maybe a chance of some severe weather as the afternoon is going to drag on here. So we'll just kind of have to keep an ear to that. So like I said, this all in here is not gonna super matter. Okay. That's like our basic idea. Our basic shape. Really what we're going for, right? Alright. And let me set that off to the side. Now, you know me. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're new here. Hi, I'm Nisey. Welcome in. So we're gonna grab, it doesn't have to be the greatest paintbrush here. Is that one of the glue ones, right? No, the glue ones are over yonder. Tell you what, let's grab this guy. Our pens back in our vase. Tuck that away. Alright. So I'm gonna do a really rough bit of color here. Just to hide any potential white canvas that might poke through, or any seams meet and what have you. So I'm going to start with our gray. I'm just gonna kind of use a little bit in the lid here. So this is just so I can keep track of what color needs to go where. Real rough. We're not going for like a huge artistic rendering here. Just kind of like a color key, essentially. Some people might do yellow for the feeties. If you would prefer yellow, then do yellow. I didn't have one of the colors that was in the photo I was looking at for my color reference. So that was a little disheartening. But that's okay, because we'll figure it out. I decided to go with, well, husband helped me kind of decide to go with two different shades of green. So I really didn't have the right color, like peacock kind of jewel toned blue. That probably would have been the better choice. Alright. So, because I don't need the paint job to look stellar, I'm just going with one of our cheaper brushes. I do want to bring up the photo real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna grab our red next, give that a good shake. This is just one of my paint plates. This is just a square plate I picked up at Dollar Tree. Nothing fancy. It's a small square plate. It's about the size of our canvas, actually. They had bigger sizes too, so. Alright, where is our... We kind of have to take a little bit of it's not going to be straight to the edge of the cookie cutter. Like, we have to kind of figure out how far in we're going to come. That only just gave us the rough outline. And that's okay. Like I said, this doesn't have to be a perfect painting. We don't really want to waste a whole lot of valuable crafting time on fussing over getting every shade blend correct here. So we'll get this filled in here. Just so, you know, I've done this before where I didn't do any kind of color underneath, even though it kind of feels like, oh, this is just a waste of a step. It's kind of not, though. because I have done this before where I didn't do this step. And you could totally see bits of the white canvas poking through. And oh, it annoyed the absolute crap out of me. But at that point, I couldn't really fix it. So it was just something that we kind of had to cope with. And it very much irked the crap out of me the entire time I looked at it. Alright, done with that color. Okay, so our next color, it's like we kind of have like these weird color swaths on this guy. So I gotta kind of figure out how we want to handle this. So that one there. So got in there. Where do we want? So maybe from like here to here. So I'm looking at a reference here. I'm just trying to paint in some shapes here for how we want to handle this. So that kind of goes to there, kind of goes to there. Okay. I really have to clean this plate. I'm so bad about cleaning these things. Okay, so for this guy, gonna do combination of streaky bits. And it probably won't be the same position that I am putting these in. I'm just kind of doing this for my own reference here. Don't know that I'm done with that color yet. Just so I don't get too lost in the weeds here. So this one's got lumpy paint. Okay. So this one's got a little bit of orange worked into here. I was kind of picking out the colors before we got fully started here. So we'll see how this actually ends up looking by the time we get to getting everybody in place here. Okay, so that's go. Oh, I didn't grab a. That's what I forgot to grab. The heck was that? You felt that, right?
I heard something. Wow.
That was weird. Okay, so the next section is gonna be kind of with some yellows and some tans. So it doesn't have to be the exact colors, right? As long as I get something in here. So the color of the tissue paper is not going to be completely dead on here. Like I said, it is really windy. We're under this wind advisory. For gusts hitting like 50. I was trying to secure some of my Christmas decorations out there earlier. At least trying to tie them to the areas that we had put them, so if the wind does knock them over, at least they won't go completely down the block before I realize they're uprooted. So far, they seem to be hanging in there. Alright, so we got that section, and then we've got like another little section of our like orangey red, dark red section here. So what colors? Oh. Okay. Okay, and then we've got this section in here. We're gonna need to have more of our orangey red colors. Okay. Let me set that there. Grab our orange color back. Jeez. The whole house is vibrating at times when these wind gusts come up. Kind of scary. Not gonna lie. It's definitely a bit noticeable. and a little bit concerning at times here. Jeez Louise. Okay, so that's gonna kind of be in there like that. Right. We set those two off to the side. Let's clean our brush here real quick. This isn't the greatest brush, but I did pay good money for it, and I don't want the paint to dry in it. I keep forgetting about our black here. I have to be sparing with my black though, because I'm working on something for the husband. It is requiring a bit of it. So we'll get this guy popped into... Oh, right. Sorry, I just realized I needed a little bit more of that other color. Alright, that's okay. Alright, so we'll get black put into here. So I'm still working on the husband's crab. I haven't had any time hardly to work on it this week because things and stuff, because we were decorating for Christmas and I was trying to get all of the Christmas stuff dealt with. So like I had to decorate the little trees that we put outside, and that took a little bit of time, and then I had to refresh our wreaths and put different ornaments on them because the ornaments we had on them had all kind of broken. And we were getting the light up yard stuff sorted out, and I didn't have a whole heck of a lot of time. We really only had 2 days to work on that stuff because the husband wasn't feeling well the one day, and I had a bunch of video editing I needed to do for the YouTube channel. Alright, so if we are doing so many black feathers, we're not going to be able to do a black background and have it look quite right. So I'm hoping that the blue tissue paper I picked out for our backgrounds will end up working. As a good kind of, not necessarily neutral, but something that'll make the chicken kind of pop a little bit, kind of contrast to the orange and stuff. We'll have to see how that all goes. Okay. Put might be all of the black that I need on that one. So let's rinse our brush really good. It wouldn't be that bad of a day out if it wasn't so dang windy. This wind is rather fierce. So this is the crab that I'm working on for the husband. We didn't get too far. We've kind of... It's like on an 8x10 canvas. I just started getting the background in. You might be thinking, oh, well, you just have to finish the background. Not exactly. I have to put the wiggle eyes on here. And there's getting... The whole crab sections are getting outlined. Some parts might get some doodles on them. Haven't fully decided yet. We'll kind of see how the outline looks on that. And what time is going to allow for as well. Okay. Alright, so... Alright, we're gonna do the darker green. So this was more of like a really dark teal that was almost black. But like I said, I didn't really have that as a color option here. So we'll kind of have to go with this green color. On down into there. Okay. And this upper color was a bit more of almost like a pearl essence. Like not really like a hunter green. It's kind of an odd shade of green. Right? I wouldn't even know what to refer to this as. This might be a little bit bright. I might actually end up putting a couple flecks of black in the sky. Or maybe we'll add some gray into that section. Just so it's not like so bright green, because it does look a little silly. So maybe we'll grab some of our gray color. Right? Not me just contaminating my paint colors here. It's alright. We're going to be refreshing some of these paints quite possibly in the near future since they're getting so gloopy. Alright, like I've got some silver tissue paper that we're going to use for like the beak and the feet, because I think once we put the sealer on it, I don't think it's going to be as silver. I think it'll just look like a shiny gray. So, we'll stick that in there with that lighter green color. So then I kind of forgot this little bit of a section here that should be It's kind of like a brownie tan, but for right now, just to kind of get some color in this background. And I know it's not the greatest paint job here. I know we've got a little bit of canvas showing in spots. And that's okay. It's just I didn't want it glaringly solid white under here. A little bit of show through shouldn't matter too much. It should still give any of the seams that might show through to the bottom a little bit of coverage. And these plates clean up fairly well, depending on the paint that you're using. Like watercolor will just wash right off of it. I really wouldn't do watercolor on these ones though, because there's no wells. If you can't like afford a watercolor palette that has some decent well shapes on it, check for egg plates at like your thrift store or whatever, because those have like those built-in wells. Especially if you're like looking for a ceramic one but don't want to pay the retail ceramic prices. Or if you're like at a yard sale or whatever. Those work pretty well. I mean, you can use them for acrylic too. But if you're in a pinch for an acrylic palette, I mean, this is from Dollar Tree. I've had this for a couple of years now. Okay, done with that color. And I picked out a blue for the background. It's not this dark. I will tell you that right now. It doesn't quite look the same as this. Oh, actually, no. Maybe it is the same. Actually, that's kind of similar. I think the tissue paper might be a little bit brighter. But not by much. Okay. So I wasn't sure if I was going to do background first or if I was going to do chicken first. If we do chicken first, then we can kind of get right up on the edges of the chicken. It's tail feathers and stuff. If we do background first, then we can kind of overlap the edges of the chicken. Onto the background, you know? So I'm not sure. What would really be the better option there. Okay. Now, am I going to tissue paper the sides of this guy? That's a good question. Because he actually has his staples in the back. So the edges of our canvas are visible. And probably not going to frame this. I'm probably going to use it as its own frame. So we might, as long as I don't do any kind of like weird crazy pattern around the chicken. It's not going to be too hard to replicate. And we should be okay. Probably going to have to pour some of this out onto our plate here. I don't think I've got enough in this pen cap here. Pen cap, paint cap. Yeah, it's totally a pen cap. To even roughly cover this. Because the sides I actually do need to be a little bit more mindful since we don't know yet if we are fully covering those, or if I'm just going to go up to the edge on the front. I probably will end up covering them, if only because I'm a glutton for punishment. And it won't be that difficult, it'll just be awkward. Right, so these sides I do actually want to make sure we are decently covering, just in case. I should have enough of this color in the paper where it shouldn't be an issue. And we're going to do the background, I think, in our little paper twists. It's probably going to be the better way to go, just to give it a little bit more direction. Just trying to be careful where I was putting this paint, because I still need some areas somewhat clear for the black paint puddles that I need to work on the husband's. But I mean, I could also just as easily get off my butt and actually clean the thing. So if you leave it on these plates for a little bit, depending on your paint, so all paint's different, even though it's acrylic, right? Not every acrylic paint is the same. Like, these shinier ones on here are the Arteza ones, and some of them are the Liquitex and Master's Touch. they'll just peel right off for the most part. The craft paint in this particular company that I am using at the moment, it'll like scratch off any other surface I deliberately put it on. I want it to stay there, but for some reason on this plate it like glues itself to it unless liquid hits it. So if I put a puddle of paint on top of craft paint that's already down, the liquid wetness from the new paint on top of it seems to unadhere it from the plate for the most part. So if I just soak a little bit of water on it, like spray it down and let the water sit for a bit, and then come back with either like a toothpick or a bottle cap or something, it usually scrapes off pretty well. Palette knife. I'm gonna use a palette knife. I would do a plastic one just because it's going to be scritchy if you use a metal one. I mean, it's going to be scritchy with the plastic one too, but it might not be as bad. I'm just trying not to lose my chicken shape here. And my chicken looks like it's wearing a solitary boot, which, while vaguely amusing, is not Paddington Rooster. And I don't think I want to put any galoshes on him. And I don't think my mom would get it because she can't see that well, so... we will just kind of have to go back in. I think I'll take a little bit of black and indicate where I want, like, just a separation line to be for our leggies. Alright, so I know you're probably like, I thought you said you're doing tissue paper art. This is paint. Yeah, I know. We're getting to the tissue paper part. Don't you worry. This is part of how I do it. I like to have a base of color down first. It works as my color key, so I don't forget what color I was putting where. And allows me to not have to have a reference photo open the entire time, because my background is my reference photo at that point, for the most part. It gives me a little bit more freedom to change something if I decide it's not kind of hitting me just right, because then I won't feel as guilty for changing a color around. Oh my goodness, this wind. Holy cow. This is crazy wind today. Absolutely crazy. Husband had a dumbbell set that he had picked up from a yard sale at one point that he didn't end up doing anything with. And we use it to weigh down stuff outside now. So I've got Mongo, or like between 5 and 6 foot flamingo statue that's made out of metal, decorated for Christmas out there in his Christmas hat and scarf. And I've got his feet weighed down with a couple different 10-pound weights sitting on his base, hoping that it's enough to keep him from taking flight, so I don't have to bring him in. He was kind of covered in cobwebs, and I don't know if there's any spiders still inside of him. I'd rather not find out the fun way. Apparently, this crazy-ass wind advisory is going until 6 p.m. for us. So, got a few more hours to go. Hopefully the Christmas decorations survive. And I know it's a little early, but dang it, the little pretty lights bring me somewhat of a small amount of joy. So, fuck it. Right? Like, we've got one set that we have had on for a couple of weeks in our house around our one doorway. Just because color. And it makes things seem not quite so dire at times. Some people will eat an entire box of cookies or whatever. I want to look at pretty lights. It's kind of funny because the rough ones I do for these, the underpainting, I'm like, shit, that's not half bad. Even though it was really, really rushed, right? And then I'll spend hours actually trying to do a nice painting of them. And I'm like, shit, that looks terrible. I'm not saying this is a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but he's kind of cute in his own dorky little way. Keep hearing all these bangs coming from outside, and I have no idea what it is and if I should be concerned about it. Like, we've got a bunch of crap on our porch that we need to deal with, but we've been trying to get a decent weather weekend where we can remember to call the city to do our one free bulk pickup of the year, because we haven't done one yet. We've got some outdoor furniture that's kind of given up the ghost, and stuff that's just accumulated. That kind of just needs to go. That like won't fit in our trash bags. So, and we have to pay for our city trash bags. They have to be special ones, or a special city trash can. And if you have more trash than will fit in your trash cans with the lid closed, they won't pick it up. Like, if you have an extra thing that you sit next to it, no, that will stay. And you'll have to hope you can fit it in next week. Because that's how our city rolls with that. Or we can pay to do a private trash service, or we can, yeah, we're not doing that atomic frolic. That's gonna be a no. And see, now I'm gonna have to take time out and deal with you. That I didn't want to do. Week to get people to buy viewers from the website. So now I'm gonna have to block you and ban you. It's the same website that they've been trying to advertise lately. That they think they're gonna get past the stream bots with how they've done it, because they've put a space in between the dot and the com. And that ain't working, sorry. Try again. And now I'm gonna have to report you, and I hope this wasn't somebody's account that you stole. Or hijacked. Ooh. That one's getting howly. Crazy. Alright. Okay. Thought it was funny that that Moobot popped up there. I'm like, what you have to say today, Moobot? You're usually a shy guy in the streams. Just because of the way I've got it set up. Ko-fi-bot's not shy though. Ko-fi-bot, every half hour on the half hour, just about. Is pimping the Ko-fi thing. The Ko-fi page. I don't have a lot going on the Ko-fi page. Like, I don't have, like, memberships like Patreon or anything, because I don't, right now, I don't have time to, do anything special for it. And I don't know what I would offer over there. Not like I can, like, I don't have the disposable income to make stickers. They hand out for different tiers every month, changing them up. Like, that's a lot of work. A lot of time. I'm not afraid of the work, it's just the time. When I'm trying to get a bunch of other stuff dealt with, because life goes on. Right? Life keeps moving outside of stream at a pretty rapid pace. So I only have the Ko-fi right now just as an alternative place where people can donate if they want to donate and don't want to go through Twitch. That's really the main reason why I've got that going there. I'm gonna be just short. Alright, let's get the bottle back open here. See if I can get the last little bit that I need and not have to dump more out. Like, I've got more of the paint. I'm just trying to avoid putting more on the plate that I'm not going to end up using all of. Because, yeah, I know there's bits of paint on this plate that didn't get used. It still hurts my heart to waste any of my supplies, even though these supplies weren't super expensive. I'm just kind of like, oh, my supplies, my cabbages. Okay. Alright, so it's not the greatest rendition, but it's something, right? Let me get a little bit of our black here. I don't know if that really works, but oh, I forgot the so we may or may not leave that black line in, separating out the feet there. I don't know, I'm not sure I'm feeling that. I might leave it, I might not. Alright. Just trying to get this brush cleaned out because we got a lot of paint up in the end of the ferrule here. Oh, it's always annoying. Alright. Let me put you over there. Alright, we're gonna set the water cup over that way. Our paint plates over this way too. Put that into the trash. Okay. So, that was still wet. Good job. Good job. Okay. So we're gonna need a toothpick. And I forgot to clean this out real super quick. Oh, uh-oh. So I just dropped that. And, oh, there it goes. I was gonna say, I don't see it down there in the dark abyss that is under my desk. We did find the tip of the needle from last week. It flew a considerable distance. Ah, shit. It had bounced past the cat onto the rug that is in front of our door. Bounced further than I expected it to have gone. That was a little bit of a surprise. Okay, so we get a little bit of water. for our glue brushes. Okay, so I still haven't figured out if I want to do background first or if I want to do the rooster first. I'm kind of leaning towards rooster first. It might be easier. So, let's see. We need our red color here. I need scissors. We need our 2 different glue brush options. Alright. And we need... Holy cow. This wind is crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm actually going to run to the bathroom real quick before we get started. So give me just a moment. I'm going to run a quick ad while we're gone. Now's a good time to go potty yourselves, grab a snack, grab a drink, and we'll be right back in like 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, sorry about that. Had to pee. And also needed to just take a quick peek outside. Just to make sure everything on our porch was still looking okay. Okay. So, I don't know how I'm gonna handle that. All right, so I've got some tissue paper pieces pre-cut here. And I'm just going to twist them. And I'm probably going to have to cut them down in size a bit to fit in here a little bit better. But we will see here. So right now we're going to work on the comb on the head and the little dangly bit, which the name of escapes me at this very moment. Sometimes these want to twist better than others. There we go. So I know these aren't 100% dead on 1" by 1" squares, but they're about-ish. You know, make your pieces whatever size you can work with comfortably. So I'm just getting a few of these guys set up. So we'll take a couple. Sorry, felt something touching me. I'm like, what is this? Had a escaping hair. Now I've been all sorts of fumbly fingers this morning before we got started, so we'll see how the delicate work is gonna go today. So my hands have been kind of swollen the past few days. Alright. So I don't know how long this one will take. We will have to see. It might take a little bit longer than the other guys, right? Because we had a bit more ground to cover there, number one. And number two, this is bigger. Just by sheer acreage, we've got more ground to cover. Alrighty. That's not a whole lot. But we'll see. So I'm just getting a little nub here, little like half of a square. I am going to kind of scrunch into a little ball that we're going to use for our eye. And here's the tough part. is trying to get the lid off of our glue. It's hard for me to grab. Alright, I think this is our glue container that we've been using. I am using Tacky glue. You can use Elmer's or school glue. I prefer the Tacky glue. It grabs it a little bit quicker and sets up a little bit quicker. So you're not holding it in place as long as you might need to with the Elmer's. If you go with like the Elmer's type school glue, you might have to either let the glue start to get a slight skin on it after you put it down. Like, not completely dry. Like, it still needs to be tacky if you push something into it. But you might need to let it set up a little bit, or you're gonna have to hold it in place a little bit before you can let go of it. So, eyeball in place. Okay. And we're gonna start to work on the edge of our little comb here. Probably put too much glue in my cup here. It still wasn't that much glue. Felt like I completely covered the bottom. Work in small glue amounts. Especially if you are keeping it pretty thin. So it doesn't dry out on you. And I do recommend rinsing the glue out of your brush every time you sit your glue brush down and drying it. Okay. Probably should have measured this first, but I didn't. Come on. I just need one of you guys, that's all. Okay. So we're gonna start to slip our tissue paper into place here. Not quite short enough for what I want to do. So I'm just kind of working on laying this in our outline here. Now we could try to do it without cutting so much, but that might get a bit trickier. And might start to get a little bit more frustrating. And we don't want to make this more of a trial than it could end up being. At least when it comes to getting our edges sorted here. Right, like we don't want to be in a crazy argument with our supplies here by the end of it. Because A, what would the neighbors think? And B, we don't want our art supplies mad at us. Wow. Every wind gust, just hear it like whistling through every crack. That piece is a little small. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfectly placed. Because, you know, art is art. But I'm still going to try to get it in our glue line here. Because it's me. Alright. Now, if you really want, you could give that a minute to set up before you start working on the next bits here. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is how do I want to fill the inside of this? Like, do I want to continue like completely outlining? And then kind of figure out the middle afterwards? Like, we could do that. Okay. So we are gonna clean that up. Dry that off. Okay. So the next guy here. Just snip off a little bit of our paper twist. Now this might be a little bit tricky to get this guy in here because we are trying to bend him. So that we're going to kind of have to hold in place for just a couple of minutes. Make sure it doesn't decide to let go. Don't use super glue. Don't use Gorilla Glue. Don't use E6000. Don't use any of these, like, quick grabby glues. Thinking you're going to be done faster. That's just going to end up with you glued to your project. And not in a good way. Like, you'll definitely have trouble putting it down at that point. Okay. So we've got that. And we kind of have to figure out how do we want to do this. Like, do we want to do smaller pieces? I'm actually going to curl this guy. It's going to be a little tricky because he's tiny, right? But you just kind of want to start at one end and kind of roll it up on itself. Think of like a snail shell. Or maybe like a flower, like a rose or something. Just to kind of get it in a curled up mood. So then he kind of wants to bend. And I'm going to see about getting some of our glue here. Laid in around our eyeball. As gently as we can. Clean off my brush. Like, that also gives the glue a chance to start to set up there. This guy that we kind of wrapped up in a snail shell. Now, after we do that, we're going to unfurl him. All right. Going to unroll him. And we're gonna try to get him to lay in there. He kind of doesn't want to sit down in there at this very moment. But I'm gonna grab another piece and get the little bits of glue off of my finger before I do this. And I'm gonna roll this guy. And I'm gonna try to like squeeze him a little bit just so he kind of tries to hold the shape a little. And then I'm going to undo him again. You know, now he's got like a little bit of a curve going on. Grab our toothy pick friend. And we're gonna get this guy. Smushed down in there. Right, so the paper that we put down around the outline's a little more saturated with the glue now. So that's that little tip that we had cut off one of the other guys. And I'm just going to cut off another little piece and just kind of tuck it in that little bit of a gap that we had kind of open up there. And I'm going to get another little piece. That's too big. I'm talking little. Super little. Like as small as I can cut and still function. And then I'm going to slip that in the gap around the other side of our eyeball. And then I'm just going to kind of push gently all of our red pieces that we circled around our eyeball kind of together. Okay. Now, to figure out, okay, I guess we'll do it that way. So we're going to come in to start filling in this section. Sounds like it's raining again. Alright, the nice thing about this tacky glue is that it's non-toxic and it doesn't have a bad smell. Like some glue can just knock you off your feet a bit. This isn't so bad. And I'm super sensitive to smells. Like I smell stuff that's not even there half the time. Alright. So we're gonna work in small bits here. Rinse the brush, dry the brush. Okay, and we probably will need to twist a little bit more of our paper here in this color. It's a very strange sounding vehicle. That guy actually could have been just a smidge shorter, but we'll make it work. Okay. See about getting the next guy trimmed up in here. So this is going to be a little bit tricky, right? Because we want to get these crammed in here, fairly compacted. So it's going to take a little bit of patience. We want to get them slid in there right up against one another. That one was a little bit long, but I was able to kind of smush that end in around the eyeball. So, kind of worked out. And if you think you're going to have a gap that's going to be problematic, you can always come back in with another piece and try to fill it, or you go too far. Although I suppose you could come back and try to squeeze a little tiny nub in somewhere. Like, I don't know if this guy is gonna work out the way I'm wanting him to. I think that was cow. Okay. So another piece all trimmed up in here, and this is why I work in smaller sections, or try to work in smaller sections, especially if it's a section where we're gonna have to do a bit of trimming, a little bit of eyeball measuring, just to make sure we're gonna fit. It's easier because it does take a little bit of time. That way you're not super panicked about, oh no, my glue is drying. Gotta hurry, gotta hurry. I mean, we still have to hurry to a degree. Like, we don't have like hours on end. The glue will dry. But, I mean, also, it's not a huge problem unless you're running out of glue, because you can just add some more glue. Which is what we're going to do here. We've filled in that section. And we're off to the next section. Hi, cow. Meow. No idea if my microphone was picking him up. But that was definitely me meowing back at him. Oh, you're such a troublemaker.
You were driving me nuts.
Get down, cow cow. Get down, you're not supposed to be up there. This dog, Mr. Zeus, was very anxious all night about the wind and the rain. He kept nudging me awake, being anxious about it. I'm like, it's okay, buddy. It's just normal wind. Well, not normal, but this is a bit excessive even for here. But it's nothing super severe. We're okay. Wasn't even storming. And then he was still being nervous about how loud the wind was. While we were sitting here. And then started giving the husband a bunch of sass. Because he wanted to go to his daily outing. Or what has become his daily outing. And we're like, you're sitting here anxious over the loud noise. No, we're not going today. And he got mad. As he does. But I kind of didn't want to go today because it's very windy. And this was before they had put us in the wind advisory. It had been raining a good amount overnight. And the place we go has a bunch of big old trees all around. And I was kind of nervous that something could fall on us, especially since they've got a few of them still tagged for trimming. And we don't know what exactly it is they're trimming off of it, or if they're taking the whole tree down. Because some of the trees have been trimmed, but some of them haven't. So I don't know if those ones are like, no, that whole tree's gotta go. Because they have lost a few trees in storms. And I'm just, I wasn't really feeling super comfortable. And then a little bit later, they put the wind advisory up, so I'm like, okay. That's fine. And then we were on the hunt for dog food for this dog of the mother-in-law's. She had been feeding her some kind of sensitive stomach stuff. And we didn't have the bag anymore because we were trying to transfer her over to what Zuzu was eating. We didn't know why she was on the sensitive stomach stuff. But now we think we know why. So we were going to try to put her back on it. The mother-in-law doesn't remember exactly what it was she was giving her. And I can't find anything from the company she swears it was from that matches what she's saying it was and what the look of it was. So I'm like, I don't know about this. So we're either gonna have to, we got something in the meantime. We may have to go to the one store and just look and see if we can find it on the shelf, because I wasn't finding it on their website or from the company's website that she said it was from. I'm like, are you sure? But she kept saying multiple different things, so she's not sure. I'm like, well, that's not helpful. Okay. So we're getting this little part of his face filled in here. Actually, pretty quickly. Just gonna rinse the glue. Okay. So this piece we had trimmed a moment ago. And that should be fine. Remember, every so often, just want to push down. You're probably going to have glue come up and get on your fingertips. That's why I'm saying use the tacky glue or the school glue, because it's not going to hurt you. Gonna get a little bit on you. But that will ensure that you're actually making contact with your surface. Because, I mean, sometimes you can go along and be pushing tightly up against the other ones that are already there and not realizing that you're starting to slide under them instead of up against them. And we want to be up against. We still want to have some sort of surface contact here with our paper to canvas. Okay. This face is looking a little cute there so far. Little cutie guy. So we are going to have to twist a little bit more. Of this paper. But sometimes if you're just a little bit long, you can kind of scrunch it in there carefully and gently, providing your other stuff is set up enough to handle that. So just my little section of chipped off pieces. Don't know how many more we really need to twist, because we have to fill in this section, and then we have this guy down here. He shouldn't take too many. I probably could have gone with the brighter red on this. Ended up going with the darker one. too late now, but I am a little bit happy. Uh-oh. Oh no. Not happy about that. Oh, there it is. I mean, it's not a huge deal. It's just a piece of paper. I'd find it eventually. But, this way I'm not, like, finding it halfway across the house and be like, where did this come from? And then remembering, oh yeah, I was using that, like, months ago. I think I had finally gotten most of the glitter. Most of the glitter out of our rug where we had our Christmas tree up last year. And then we looked at the floor after we put it up this time and we're like, oh no. It's gonna take me another year. And I had shampooed that rug like probably 20, 30 times. So it shall be interesting. Between the vacuum and the rug shampooer. So on this one, I might just kind of curve them in towards the middle. Because the direction and angle that you go with, it's going to hold on to that. So, like you saw that with the cardinal, kind of like beadwork. It's not like paint where it's going to like all just kind of meld in and you're using your brush tips to give you your texture in the paint. Like if you go this way, it'll change the angle. If you go that way, it'll change the angle. Whatever way you put this down, that's the angle your paper is going to have. So, do keep that in mind. Yeah, I think our background color is actually a little bit brighter. Not dramatically, but I do think it might be just a touch brighter. I'm actually not sure that's enough. I mean, it might be. But then again, it might not. So we are going to twist just a little bit more. Excuse me. So we're under a special weather statement for wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour. From a gusty set of showers heading into the area. So hopefully the power doesn't go out. I certainly hope not, because power went out, what, last week one day? We were sitting here and we heard a boom right as the power went out. And they're like, oh yeah, it'll be back at like 1 o'clock. I'm like, no, I have a stream today. it came back up like a half an hour later. So I guess someone was in the area to work on it at the very least, but like this is definitely more than enough for that, but we still have to finish filling in that section. Okay. I actually kind of always wanted to do a roostery guy. Or something feathery. We did the peacock the one time. I still have that peacock. He is up on my wall. But it was a little different than this. He was a lot of our little circle pieces. Our little snail shell pieces. Alright, let's see how we do with that. I just need to stretch my legs real quick. Ooh. The leggies are sore and achy, probably from this weather front moving in. It can't seem to make up its mind what temperature it wants to be. Supposed to get chilly again tomorrow. We're gonna need some more glue here. In our cup. This is drying pretty quickly here. I think we've got enough to fill in this section here. Okay. I can't see that section where the paint is starting to peek through. The wind definitely feels like it's starting to pick up. Okay. So let's see. Probably about here-ish. Now, if you think you've got use for all the little nubby guys that you are snipping off to make your paper twists fit, by all means, hold on to them. If you don't think you'll have a use for the little nubbies, it is tissue paper. Tissue paper isn't normally too expensive. So if it's going to be a pain in the ass to hold on to something that small, then, you know, you won't feel as bad. about having to put those little bits in the discard pile. I'm just coming back and grabbing some of these smaller guys that we nipped off here. If I can get a hold of it properly. And just kind of filling in our tiny gap that we had there with how this other piece wanted to sit in here. Okay, let's see. Probably about there-ish. Yeah, it's probably a little long still. See, I looked at that and then I was like, I think I'm overestimating how short that needs to be. No, I was right. I was right with my feeling on that to begin with the first time. It's getting darker out, that's for certain. Like, if it was colder, it would definitely be snowing, but it's a snowy look sky. Way too warm. But the sky just has that snowy look to it. Like the weird, angry gray. It has like almost a nor'easter look to it out there. Not possible here. Because we're not on the East Coast. But it definitely has that feel to it. The way the wind is banging around. And one of those days where it's just like, no, we're not going anywhere. We did have to go, well, husband went somewhere this morning trying to find that dog food. We ended up getting something else that she then turned her nose up at, so that's fun. We'll see what happens come dinner time. Okay, so we might have a little bit of a tiny gap in there. That could just be glue that seeped up. That's not so bad there. That looks pretty good. Definitely got some texture to him if I can. It'll be a little blurry that way. But the texture's there. For sure. Okay. So we need a little bit of fresh glue here. We are using that gold bottle, that distinctive gold bottle brand. We're not sponsored, so we're not gonna be spreading the name everywhere, but Come on. It is a bit thick. It is the original blend of this glue. It's not like extra thick or anything. Gosh, that would be something else altogether, wouldn't it? That would probably be kind of scary to try to use. It'd take forever to get out of the bottle. I don't know if I would have the hand strength to get an extra thick version of that out. And I think an extra thick version of it does exist, or did exist at one time or another. I think. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna just work on getting those bits in there for the outline. We go too far. Okay. So, gonna start to lay this down in our glue. And we might have to just kind of hold it in place a little bit here. And get our fingers all in the glue. Okay, so come back in here. Just kind of work on getting this guy tapped in. I'm just trying to pull any of the glue that may have accumulated off the edge there. And it's okay if you're not completely in your color key if you did a color key, because the other edges and stuff will be covered here. I'm going to give that just a moment to start to get a hold onto the canvas there, so that way when I start pushing stuff up against it, it will hold on. Hope everybody's Monday is starting out well. Your week's going okay. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. Or my eyes are just itchy. With all the wind, it would not be hard to believe. Because I was outside for a minute earlier. Okay. Got glue everywhere on my fingers. Plus my fingers have some battle damage from earlier this week working on stuff. I have no idea how I got as scratched up as I did. Okay. Start to lay in some of our glue here. And I'm not doing it super thin. Like, don't want to do it super thick either, but the thinner it is, the faster it is going to set up and dry on you. So do keep that in mind. Like, you don't need it super, super thick, but you also don't want it like super watercolor thin either. I don't want to find that happy middle ground that's going to work for you the best here. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece and just kind of lay him in there, and with my fingernail on the outer edge of that first piece that we put in, just in case he's not completely set up yet. Just gonna leave that there to push up against. That glue there should dry clear. Should. Alright, I think I can get one more on that side. So this section up here, right along our beak, isn't completely stuck in there yet because our outer edge was moving a little bit. Didn't give it quite enough time. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's go with this one. Okay. So this guy, I'm going to turn him upside down. So a little bit easier time supporting that outer edge here. A little bit of glue ripped off end of our toothpick here. Okay, so next bit, lay you in just like the others. Might take a little bit of scrunching, or you could probably let that one kind of lay over the edge there just a little bit. See, this is why I say make sure you're pressing down, even though your fingers are going to get a little messy. Because this one over here wasn't as pressed down as it could be. And he was trying to pop up. Now, we could, if we caught it after the glue had set, try to squeeze a little bit of glue under there and then squish him back down. But the goal is to try to keep that from being a thing we need to come back and deal with. Alright, so we've got just a little bit more in the center of our dangly bit here to get filled in there. So that little end piece wasn't quite attached because of how we laid it in. Now I did forget to come back and add some of our green striping to the tail. But I figure we can do that as we go, when we get there, if I remember. Ah, famous last words. Alright, let's get this guy kind of laid in there. Alright, now I'm going to, let's see, are you going to fit? I feel like you're a little big. You are a little big. Grab some of my little nubby pieces here that we had removed from a couple of the other guys here. So at this point, I'm just trying to get everybody smooshed in here. Looking good. And if you've got a spot that you think is just being a little bit extra stubborn. And come back in with a little bit of tacky. Not a lot. This you want thin. And just kind of lay it in gently on the top, but then don't touch it, right? Like, once you've got it kind of stuck to itself with the paintbrush, don't come back in and touch it with your toothpick then, because you'll probably rip it off. So just kind of let that hang out. Just cleaning off our brush there. Okay, so that is probably pretty good on our red. I'm gonna take our little nubby guys. Just I really don't have anywhere else to put them at the moment. Put our other twists back in our bag for now. Alright. So that color I'm going to set to the side. Alright. So oh, thanks for the resub, Sorts. Appreciate that. Hope your day's going alright. Chicken, chicken indeed. All of the chicken. My mom likes chickens. I got the mother-in-law's gift done, her sister's gift done, because we don't know. I'm gonna need a lot more blue. See, it's close actually. That is pretty close. Holy Christ. Is Mongo still standing? Wind is getting crazy. Fuck's sake. How is this? This weather statement's going until 1:45. Just for wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour. Well, that's good. Got up a little while ago. So, we are working on my mom's Christmas gift. I think we're going to put shiny side in. And we'll work on the non-shiny sides. A little bit of the shiny is going to poke through. But the one side's a little less metallic-y than the other. So we will try to go with that side. Not quite sure how I ended up with silver tissue paper. It might have been in the multi-pack of colors I had gotten. I also ended up with gold too, and I'm like, okay, sure. So, I still need to get at least one more, if not two more episodes of Bear and Breakfast recorded, so I can work on that edit. So we need this for our feet and our beak. And maybe a little bit in that section too. So we're gonna need to get a little bit of this twisted. So windy. We had to tie down while I was out there while he had to run to the store to get dog food this morning, trying to tie down the Christmas decorations to keep them from blowing away. I thought I had staked them pretty good, but then it had rained last night. So the ground got a little soft. Everything okay?
Yeah, I figured out what the noise was.
What?
One of the wire flamingos, they pulled off one of their tabs.
Oh.
They're safe, just it pulled one of the tabs off.
So we have to reattach
Yeah,
a
I'll
tab?
have to redo the whole thing when it gets dry.
Okay. That's a problem.
Not a huge deal.
Did you pull it down?
No.
So it doesn't go...
Fine.
Okay. I didn't know if it was going to go flying.
Nah, it should be alright.
My small flamingo army set up outside. I have more Christmas flamingos than I do anything else. My pink lawn flamingos. Russell had gotten me some mini plastic ones a while back. And they don't last long in the weather here with how hot it gets and stuff. And it also doesn't help that he's like, oh, I'm gonna try to weed whack this section down of the planter box that had gotten overgrown. Forgetting that I had my mini flamingos in that planter box. So a few of them got decapitated and shredded by the weed whacker. To which I was most upset about when I found out. Like, what happened to these? They just shattered. And he's like, oh yeah, that. I'm like, what did you do? That's okay. They went to Sam's yesterday because my mom needed to get out of the house for some nonsense. They found chocolate covered chocolate Tim Tams, tiny ones. So Russell got a box of those. And my mom wanted another set of lights for her little tree in her room. And Russell saw a set of lights. And he bought it. It was on a big plastic spool, mind you. That was like a foot wide. They came home and I'm in her room later that night. And I saw it sitting on the bed and I'm like, lights? I didn't think we needed more lights. So we went on our walk and I'm like, hey, what's with the spool of lights on my mom's bed? He goes, oh yeah, that's for her little tree. And I looked at him and I'm like, excuse me? You understand that her tree is like 2 feet tall, right? If that. And you bought a spool of lights from Sam's? She needs maybe a 10-foot string of lights on that thing. 15 at the most. To wrap around. How long was this spool of lights? And without missing a beat, he goes, 43 feet. I'm like, excuse me? 43 feet. And he's like, yeah, 43 feet. And then he thought about it for a minute. And he's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, that's too much. And he's like, oh. I'm like, uh-huh. Wait. No. I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't know. Obviously my brain wasn't working. I saw it, lights, and I said, did you not see it said 43 feet? He goes, no, I saw it. It just apparently didn't register in his brain how long that was. And my mom saw it too. She's just as bad. She didn't even think anything of it. I'm like, you guys. Alone in the store. For Christ's sake. But he did get his last Christmas present that he wanted. Nope, I don't like that. So he had wanted a chair like mine that we had to pick up right before we left. And they didn't have any more when we came back. He couldn't find any more. So he was mad. I was like, well, I told you should have gotten it before we went. And they had them back out, I guess, trying to get rid of the remainder for Christmas. Because his chair needs to be replaced badly. Because it is making all sorts of creaking and groaning and spring humming whenever he like moves around. So that worked out. Because he never wants anything. But my mom won't take no, I'm good for an answer. So if we don't pick something, she will pick something. Alright. Let's get... Alright, so our comb on the top of the head. Looking pretty good there, actually. Now that the glue is drying and settling in. Alright, so I'm just kind of getting the separation between the top beak and the bottom beak popped into there. So, for those that missed it, we used a cookie cutter and traced the inside and the outside after the inside was a little bit difficult with the size pencil I had. And we painted in a rough color key. Now some of these colors are going to vary slightly from what an actual chicken rooster guy is going to look like. Just because I don't have the exact colors of paper. There was like a dark, like peacock kind of teal color. Like a jewel toned blue, jewel toned teal that I don't have. So we had to make a substitution. And I didn't really have like a tan color right now. So we gotta make do with what we got here. Alright. I'm gonna get this piece squished into here as best as we can. I did find that needle from last week. That was kind of surprising that it flew as far as it did. We were looking underneath of us, and I got up to get my flashlight and get out of the way so the husband could look a little bit better under the desk. And lo and behold, I found it over near the front door. So I was like, oh, that went a lot further than I expected. At least it hadn't clung to the cat or hit him, since he was sitting right there under my desk. See if I can get my finger up under here. I love the smell of a freshly opened canvas. I can't help it. It's fantastic. But I'm strange, so. Almost has like that fresh cut wood kind of scent. Alright, so I'm going to turn this guy so I can see in here a little bit better. Our glue is setting up in our cup because it's starting to look like saltwater taffy when they're making it and stretching it and aerating it on the little machines. That's a bit too much glue. Just a little. Okay. So let me rinse that out. I'm hoping I can try to get the background done on the husband's painting this week. We'll see. We'll see what tonight brings. Because his painting, I've got a ways to go. So I need to finish getting the background painted in. So I started over here and then got distracted and then was following this way and then realized, oh crap, my black needs 2 coats of paint. So like over in here I can see where I need to do another coat in there. And then I have to outline everything. I think I'm going to use my white gel pen on that. And he's going to get some wiggly eyes. On the crabby. Okay. So let's get this guy kind of shoved into here. I'm not a huge fan of the metallic shine on the beak, but at the same time, kind of works. Kind of works. Alright, So I'm gonna get this guy popped into here. Now I can clean up the edge of that beak a little bit when we go to put the background in if we need to. We'll see how that's gonna transpire here. Like waiting for this storm to hit. And the wind actually sounds like it calmed down for a minute. That would be nice if that calms itself right down. They had us in a severe day, but they said they couldn't rule out the possibility of some low-end tornadoes. I'm like, oh good. No thanks. No thanks. I've had enough of that nonsense. Fully and totally. The second our internet started stuttering, I knew something was going down because we have fiber. So our internet's underground for the most part in places, and it hasn't stuttered like that in forever. And then when the lights started getting funky, I was like, oh, here we go. Now every time it's remotely windy, the doggo gets so upset. He goes and sits in the bathroom by himself. Like he's waiting for the rest of us. He's like, are you guys coming or what? I'm like, buddy, it's good. We're all good. I was a little nervous earlier though, because they did have part of Oklahoma earlier this morning in a tornado watch, and I was like, oh, here we go. I was like, it's just a matter of time before they throw us in it. Well, they did not, which was a bit of a surprise, to be perfectly honest. It does sound like it's raining again. Okay. Got little bits of glue all over me. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Okay, it's just a shadow. I thought I had blue paint on my shirt. My shirt's blue, and I was like, wait, is it really that blended in? Oh, goodness. Okay. Clean that up. I lost you for a second, and you were right in front of me. Like, where did that piece go I just had in my hand? Okay. So I wasn't gonna do this, but it looks like one giant rain boot if I don't. So I guess we'll put the little shadowy bit in after all. Now the question is, which I still haven't figured out in my mind, do we want to work backwards or not? We still have a few minutes to think about it. And I haven't decided. Working backwards might make everything lay a bit nicer. So we will see. Oh, right, so we're supposed to go to our friend's graduation in December. And then he found out he might have to work that day. And I'm like, no, boy. We're coming an hour to come to this. I would at least like to see you for a minute before you have to run away. He's like, yeah, I need to clarify with them what they meant about that. I was like, yeah, you might want to tell them that you're supposed to be graduating that day. Okay. So if we do work backwards here. I think we're going to have to start with the black sections and then like work our way back up. And that might be the easier way to do that. Oh yeah, this bit of glue's definitely taking on a saltwater taffy texture. Look, it looks like a dino in my cup. Completely by accident. Okay. Clean that brush off. I probably, well, I don't know. I might need to trim a bit more of this. Well, not trim a bit more. Brain today. Twist a bit more. Okay, I think we can snip that end off there. Try to get this guy squished in there. like I said, I can probably clean up the edges here a little bit if it comes to it. My fingers are just absolutely covered in glue here. This has been a slightly messier one. It happens. Or at least it feels like they're covered in glue. Wow. The wind like dropped to nothing. All of a sudden. I think that's more creepy. Than if it had just stayed windy. Like it didn't gradually seem to drop off. It just kind of suddenly wasn't. Oh, okay, there it goes. The edge of that storm is still not here. I think they extended our weather statement from the looks of it. Cut the paper, not the finger. Cut the paper, not the finger. As I almost cut the finger. Which would be mighty impressive with those craft scissors. I will say. Just have to cut a little bit more off of that one. Okay. So, I mean, it's definitely not going to be, you know, a realistic chicken for how we're doing this. Definitely more of a abstracty, artistic rendering of a chicken guy here. Okay. Get you. You're being a little stubborn. Come on now, guy. Come on. Okay. I think I'm going to grab a little bit more of our glue here. Now we are starting to set up there. I can see it. See the edges starting to clear out there. Because this is pretty sticky. All right. So let me make sure we get that rinsed really good. Okay. So I added that in there. I'm thinking can we just slide you in here? We might be able to. We're probably gonna have to trim a little bit here. Just to get the rest of that in there. So we'll get this guy. Just want to make sure that my black piece doesn't decide to go for a walk there. All right. And it doesn't have to be completely within the confines of our paint there. We can be a little under if it comes to it. All right, let's see. How will you sit in here? Will you work? Will you behave? Kind of. Kind of. All right. Little glue bits on the fingertips. I'll try to pull them off my fingers as they build up. That way they don't get stuck in to the project itself. That'd be a little bit of a pain to try to pull out. Okay, that's not too bad. Just trying to clean up our edge there, get that a little more scrunched in so when we do our background, I haven't decided how I'm doing the background. I want to do the paper twists, right? But I wasn't sure if I wanted to go diagonally. Kind of wanted to go diagonally, but that's really easy to mess up. We might be better off going up and down or across. Okay. We're gonna flip him upside down. And we're gonna get a little bit more fresh glue. Man, it rained earlier and the wind was kicking so bad. It sounded like somebody was power washing the side of our house. It's raining now and hardly... I mean, there's a little bit of a breeze here and there, but that is nothing like it was earlier. We'll get a little bit more of our glue worked in here. Now I'm kind of thinking the background might be what ends up taking the longest on this guy. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that's probably going to be our most time-consuming part, because I'm doing the sides too. Hopefully we have enough paper. I think we will. Okay. So let's drop this guy. In here. And I'm probably gonna have to like come back in and add, oh no, maybe not. Let's see, I might have to add some tippies to this other foot like we did the front one, but might not have to add any tippy toes to him. Can I squeeze one more in there? Maybe. Okay. So now work on, oh, stabbing myself with the scissors. No, that's not what we're gonna work on. It happened, but that's not what we're trying to do. Always the sensitive areas. Dang. Okay. Alright, this guy needs to get shortened a bit more. Just trying to keep my fingers out of the glue there as much as I can. Alright, so This guy. God, you should have seen me trying to make a bow the other day. That was, that was a disaster. Like, I understand the concept. It's been forever since I've had to try to make a bow with the wiry ribbon. And I didn't have any extra wire, which is what I should have had. So I was seriously trying to improvise. And it was sheer kind of like tooly ribbon, so you could see through it, which meant hot glue was gonna go right through it. So I'm trying to like hot glue the pieces of the bow together to try to hold it together and not burn myself. So I'm using these scissors to try to smush everything together. Because there's still a little bit of the Teflon coating on these ones. These are my non-stick scrapbooking scissors. Skizzers. Okay, I need you to grab hold. Please, thank you. You benefit by being a little bit smaller. And then your super tiny friend here. Okay. Still looks like a silver boot. But now it kind of looks like two silver boots, so I tried. That's all you can do, right? No, we're not quite done with that. Well, we're done with it for now. Put it that way. So we definitely tried. What time is it? 2:11. And they were all like, oh yeah, severe weather tonight, this afternoon. It hasn't even thundered. And it doesn't look like there's any thunderstorms yet. Oh, stuck. Okay. So. Alright, I think we are gonna try to do this backwards. So, I'm gonna need our black here. And we are gonna need to twist some more paper. Because we're gonna start down here. And I want to do this section and this section before we do this section and this section, so that these guys look like they're laying on top of. Look at this. I now got glitter on this thing. everywhere. I just realized I have 2 ornaments I still have to seal. I was like, yeah, I'll get it later. Because I wasn't sure how I wanted to seal them. In the hopes that they keep their glitter to themselves. But if I Mod Podge them, since all I have is the matte, the glitter's gonna lose its glitter. Actually, no matter what I put on there, it's gonna probably not quite sparkle the same. I might just use spray sealer. Just so I don't get a brush full of glitter. Because that will aggravate me. Okay, so we need a little bit of this. I'm not sure if we should do the tail first. Actually, we might want to do the tail before we do that one. Just to keep that laying on top of, although that's not really laying on top of the tail. I keep looking to the side and keep forgetting I dropped down that reference photo. Tomorrow we'll be working on the axolotl again. I've got to make that head a little bit more rounded now. I think our length is good on it. Now I just kind of have to fill out the round shape of it. And add my piece that I'm going to use to attach it. But we still have to form our antennae, our tendrils. And I need to figure out how many of those we're going to put on there. Because that's going to be a bit tricky. The whole thing's been a bit tricky so far. To a degree. Our chicken just looks like he has this like gray aura around his one little stick foot. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do about that. He's wearing armored feet, I guess. We need a bit more than that. Alright. But we can probably start with this section here. So this section is a little bit smaller. I'm going to try to kind of keep up with our shape in here. And we will see how successful that ends up being. Okay, probably should have worked a little bit smaller there. But if we gotta add more glue, we gotta add more glue. So that's just the way of it. Okay. So if you have them twisted real super tight and you go to snip them, do be mindful that the part that you snipped off will probably go flying. So just make sure that it's not going to land somewhere that's going to be a problem. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, we're good. Our phone does tend to ring every so often. Okay. This guy, I did not snip. I don't know if I'm gonna... Yeah, I'm probably gonna be mad about that, so let's just go ahead and... We'll just snip that now. Alright. So, actually, that one can probably stay the length that it is. Alright. And this guy. I'm gonna snip off a little bit on that one. See how we do here. Okay, so it's kind of grabbing in there. Alright. This next guy here, we're gonna snip off about there. Also, the tighter that it's rolled, the harder time you might have snipping it. Okay, next guy here, he needs to be a little bit smaller. Or maybe it's just my scissors struggling, which could totally be the case. $100%. Okay. This guy. Alright, so I'm gonna come back and look at some of the pieces that I snipped here. I think I can get them worked in here. So if we can still use some of it, why not? Right? Might as well. Little piece of glue stuck in there. Oh, what's happening? Holy shit, Stone! Thanks for the raid. Appreciate that. Welcome in, Stone Raiders. I'm Nisey. We're doing art today. We are working on a tissue paper rooster on canvas for my mom for Christmas. She's got a thing for roosters. Hello, hello, how is everyone? How was stream? What were you doing today? So I never know what you're up to. You're up to many, many things. Alright, that's probably good there. Because we have to kind of work backwards to layer this up. You were saying you don't know how you do this. You're always in my crafting skills. I don't know. I'm usually 5 thumbs too when it comes to working on small stuff, but you know, we somehow get it done. I don't know how I do it either. I just do it. So these are the 2 ornaments that we've finished already. There's a little bit of a glare from the sealant on there. But we did a cardinal for Russell's aunt, and we did a butterfly ornament for his mom. These were on 4-inch diameter wood slices. So these are about the size of my hand. Well, my palm, at least. Little bigger than my palm. These guys are done. And now we're working on my mom's. And one thing that we haven't really worked on stream, that I am working on in the background, with everything else going on, is the husband's getting an axolotl and a crab. So this was from a coloring book page that we blew up. These guys were like real tiny. So we blew it up on my scanner, and I transferred it onto the canvas, and oh, what? And a crab. He's getting an axolotl. We're making him, it's not a real one. We're making him an axolotl creature. We're needle felting it. That's what the reference image up there. Sorry. He's getting an axolotl. And we're doing the crab. But this isn't quite done yet. I have to finish painting in the background black, and then I have to come back in and outline it in white gel pen. And we might do some doodles in the sections. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how time allows. Because the axolotl is taking quite a bit of time, and we might have to add some more. Holy fuck, what the fuck is happening? Sorts! Well, thank you for all the gifts, Sorts. Holy shit, thank you. So, we are working on the axolotl. We're kind of zoomed in, so he's not fitting entirely on the screen. The parade of flamingos now from all the gift subs that just went down. If Stream Elements can keep up. You did nothing. Sure. So we have to round out the head. It's a little flat still. I have to dome that up. That's what we're going to be working on tomorrow. I'm still not sure I'm going to pull that one together, but we're working on it. So we do art 2 days a week right now, and we are gaming 2 days a week, Sunday and Wednesday. Sunday we are playing Coral Island currently, and Wednesday we are doing Planet Zoo at the moment. But oh, I need more glue. That is kind of dry. It's kind of just hanging out in the bottom there. But I have a big tissue paper project that I'm going to be working on after Christmas. I'm getting a, oh, what size was it? I think it's a 36 by 48 canvas. 36 inch by 48 inches. And we're going to be doing a sunset and some flamingos on that one. I might have to record that one though. That one might just suddenly mysteriously appear on the YouTube channel, so don't forget to follow the YouTube channel. Cause I might have to record that on the cell phone that we recorded the beach video with from Key West, just because I don't know how else I'm gonna record working on that. It's gonna be too difficult to stream it unless we find the other camera.
Yeah, honestly, the quality will probably be better with that phone.
It probably will.
Because that camera was not great.
No, it wasn't. So
I can find it so we can test it, but
yeah, I mean we'll test it and see. But I might have to end up using the old cell phone. Wow, we had a hype train. Oh my goodness. Wow. So what were you doing today, Stone? I forget. Did you say? You might not have said. I missed it in all of the scroll that happened. If you did say. You did not say. Okay. Oh, so is it a mystery? Shenanigans. Well, that could be anything. You can get up to all sorts of things. You were mainly trashing Zorts. Oh my. Oh, is that what happened? Is that why we suddenly had all these gift subs? Zort's getting back at you. Oh my goodness. So we're gonna work backwards on this guy. I'm still not happy with those feet. I'm just gonna have to accept it. I'm not. The feet are chunky, but we used a cookie cutter, right? To get our shape down. And I think that's why it's bothering me. Because the feet were chunky on the cookie cutter. But I'm just gonna have to just accept that we've got some chunky feet on this guy. So just a regular stream? Okay. Well, I never know what you're up to. Sometimes you're doing wrestling, sometimes you're doing WoW. Hey Zorts, you still working on your challenger? Or have you just not had time? Did that fall by the wayside? Nah, it fell off already. Oh, what's this? Open. What is it? Mega consume emote. Okay. Sure. I guess we'll share that. I don't know. Here. I don't.
Can
Okay.
you tell we've never interacted with things like hype trains before?
Yes, yeah, I know. Really, it's like, I don't know what this is. What is happening? I don't know. I don't know. Hi, I'm new here. Oh shit! 5 thumbs strikes again. Where'd it go? There it is. At least it was paper this time. And you know, not a sharp, pointy needle. Okay. So, like I was saying, we're gonna have to work backwards if we want this to all lay into place here as best as we can. You think they added new hype train emotes again? I don't know. I'm not one of the cool kids, so I don't normally have a hype train happens. I couldn't tell you. I don't know about these things. I wouldn't know. Can't wait to get back to working on some more needle felting. Because I've got the stuff to attempt to make the magnets that I was talking about before. I have the stuff for it. I just don't have the time at the moment to attempt it. Because we are busy. And I want to work on it on stream. Like, I could make time off stream, but I want to do it on stream to see if I can get it to work. Fuck the cool kids. We prefer under the radar kids. We're very much under the radar here. In fact, we love Radar and his teddy bear. We're very much the anxiety-ridden little muffin flamingo club here. Even the dog's anxiety-ridden now. Well, the one dog. That poor dog. All it took was that one tornado going through town, and we didn't even get any damage from it. Now, every time it remotely starts to rain or gets windy, he's camping out in the bathroom waiting for us. He's like, oh, it's time to get in the tub now. The only time he's ever willing to get in the tub without being forced into it. Bath time, forget it. Yeah. You'd benign coffee, anger, and you being a coffee, anger, and booze fueled maniac online is cool, then sure. Yeah, I was so mad at that tornado that happens. I mean, nature's gonna do what it's gonna do, right? Weather's gonna weather. But they had a tornado warning on that storm. And just as it was entering the town right next to ours, they dropped it. And they're like, oh, we're gonna drop that tornado warning. And the one weather guy, I had 2 different weather guys on that I was watching. The one guy was like, I don't know about that. He's like, I think they're gonna reissue it. They're gonna have to reissue it. And I'm like, what are you seeing that they're not?
Question from Stone.
Yes.
Okay, how is that going on the canvas? Is that white stuff glue?
Yes, it is tacky glue. We are using the Gold Bottle brand that we're not gonna mention because we're not sponsored. So, but just regular tacky glue.
If you ever walk into a craft shop, you'll know the brand.
Yes. It's been around for a very long time. Begins with an A, ends with a leans. So, you could use like Elmer's glue, or I think some places refer to it as like PVA glue, like the white glue. You could use that. However, I have mixed feelings about it. Yeah, that. You don't know glue, so it's all good. Yeah, it's just tacky glue. I just don't want to get in trouble because we're not sponsored.
You're not going to get in trouble for saying the most common
But
projects on.
but don't use hot glue. Hot glue is not gonna work for you here. Um, Using hot glue will only end in tragedy for you on this project.
My God, why does it hurt so much?
do not use super glue. Do not use Gorilla Glue. Do not use E6000. Yeah, but Source uses hot glue.
Do I want to ask for what?
I don't know. Yeah, E6000. Don't use that. It's like, it's not quite super glue, but, and it's not quite Gorilla Glue, but it's like a step in between them.
There are many things in this world, Stone, that sound amazing until you make the mistake of putting it on your finger.
There's a new one now. Is it E8000? There's a new version of it out that I saw when I was looking for glue. Because I was trying to figure out how much glue I was going to need for the big canvas project. Yeah, that would probably hurt. I can't remember if it's an 8,000 or a 21. You know, now I have to look. Oh, hang on. I just kicked my tower.
I honestly would suggest take one of the things that you finished and put it in frame.
In the frame.
Yeah.
In the frame.
So people can see what you're doing.
Yeah. Because we can't get the big pieces in here. I've got some bigger ones that we have worked on before. Like the bird came out pretty good.
Yeah, I still think the bird came out well.
This guy looks like a little bit like a 3-year-old did it, but hey, you know.
Merry Christmas, Mom!
She can't see that well, you guys. Alright, I was gonna look that up for me. There's the E-Series glue. I swear I saw one that I hadn't seen before. Or maybe it was when we were at the craft store. I saw it and I was like, what? I thought it was like E6000, not this. It was E something.
I'm looking.
It was either 8,000 or 2,100 or something like that. Or
let's see. They've got an E6100 industrial adhesive, and that comes with the kind of thing you use with a caulking gun.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
That's it. That's the only thing I see that.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
I'm pretty sure that's the name they now use. They also use apparently something called goop.
Yeah, don't use that for this. You want something that's gonna wash off your hands and not adhere you to the canvas as well. So this is a 6x6 canvas. It's a small guy. We're zoomed in, so I don't know if it's gonna...
It's all one layer, Stone, excuse me. Yeah, I can't.
Their names are both the same color on my screen right now.
So. It's all one layer.
Yes.
It's just that she basically applies the material to the glue after she twists it up and puts it in shape.
Well, this one we are gonna layer. Just a teeny tiny bit. Just on the tips. Just the tip.
The warts. Yes, exactly, Stone. It adds depth.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly, Zorts. It adds depth.
Give the boy a break. He's had a rough couple of days.
I wonder if I can make a Furious Flamingo for your channel.
You should. With your newfound coding abilities.
Well, no, that's got nothing to do with making an animated GIF, but I think I know how now, so maybe I could.
We need some animated emotes. I think I have the slots unlocked. I just haven't had any. He is learning Godot.
am making some progress finally.
Super Flamingo Island.
Yes, my first project is a platformer specifically for her because I need something to practice with.
So you can use a stylus here. Your fingers. I'm using a toothpick because when it gets all icky, I can just throw it away. So we are working backwards here so we can layer it a little bit. You're gonna lurk, you go upstairs, get off PC, eat. Oh, eating sounds good. Enjoy your lurk. Enjoy your evening. Tell Carrie I said hello. So we are just kind of squishing these guys together here. And since the glue was a little bit on the thicker side when we put that down, we do have a little bit of seepage coming up in between, but this glue does, well, it's supposed to dry clear. And it does for the most part. But I want to try to get these guys squished in here against each other so that we don't have too many gaps forming in between each of them. Ow, that was my foot.
Hey, do you use auto resize or manual for your emotes?
Whatever's the easiest, so probably auto.
Okay.
It's been a while since we've added a emotes, so I'm not entirely certain, but I think it was auto. So I'm gonna have the tips of the tail be black as we get up into this section. We're gonna add in a little bit of our green, I think. This shade of green, or maybe this shade. Maybe both, just so that we've got it in more than one place. It was originally like a jewel tone teal, but I don't have that color tissue paper. So kind of have to improvise. I'm mystified how quiet it's gotten now. Like the wind has just like dropped off to nothing. The house was vibrating earlier with all of the wind gusts. Like you could hear the wind gust coming down the street. It was wild. I want that to lay flat. It may or may not. So, yeah. So with this one, we're going to work backwards. And we're gonna layer it a little bit. But like just like the tips are gonna overlap. So especially like in here. So I'm just gonna have it like lay over top. And then we'll have like the next set. Just so it actually looks like it's laying on top of itself. This rooster is wearing knight armor boots, apparently. I just want you to get like flat and like attached. So this one might take us Well, it's definitely going to take us at least one more session. It'll probably take 2 more sessions. So like next session, we might actually finish the body. And then the session after that might be spent focusing on the background. So that should give me some time to maybe get some extra paper pre-twisted. We'll see. But I think we're in a good place to stop today. I'm covered in glue. So this glue is water soluble. That's why I'm like, you want to go with this glue. Anything else where your fingers are going to be down in there, no. You got to use something that's going to wash off. And this is like the Elmer's where, you know, when you would put it on your fingers and it would dry and you'd peel it off. It'll peel right off. It's fine. So that or like the Elmer's PVA, whatever you want to call it in. Like the stuff that you'd let kids use, basically, since your hands are going to be in it. Not paste, though. No paste. Paste is not wet enough to work here. Glue stick, not wet enough. You need a liquid glue. For this to do what we need it to do. But we didn't get too we didn't do too bad today. We got further than I was expecting. So we got our shape from our cookie cutter here. Now this is an art cookie cutter now. This is not a food cookie cutter now. Because once we use something for arty purposes, that's it. It is an art tool now. So it's a little bit wider than the cookie cutters inside, because we ended up using the outside trace because that was easier than trying to get in all these little spaces on the inside. So he's a little bit chunkier, but that's okay. So we got him traced out. We kind of sketched him a little bit, cleaned him up. We put my tentative color key in for where things are going to get placed. And then we started putting our bits in here. So we got our beak done, we got our eyeball, we got our little rooster comb and our little hangy bit. And we've started working on some of our feathering down in here. So we didn't do too bad today. Tomorrow we'll be back 11 a.m.-ish Central. Sometimes I'm a few minutes late. I'll be ready to go and I'm like, oh, should I just start early? And I'm like, no, start on time. And then I get distracted and then I look up and it's like after 11. So if I don't post on Blue Sky that we had to cancel, then just give me a minute. I'm coming. So we'll be back around 11 a.m. Central-ish tomorrow to work some more on the axolotl. And we'll see how that goes. And if I can get that face a little bit more rounded on the top, I think we'll be able to. And then we have to make our little antennae and our little tendrils and get them all together. I think we're going to color the face before we attach it, though. And definitely color the tendrils before we attach those, because I think it's just going to be easier from lessons learned from past creatures that we've made. We'll see if it ends up being easier. I think it might, because I'll be able to maneuver them a little bit better. That's the plan for tomorrow. And then Wednesday we'll be back in Planet Zoo, oddly enough, working on an axolotl house. Just the way it worked out in the children's zoo, I needed an exhibit animal, and there was only like one exhibit animal that actually started with an A, because I don't count the adders, because those are snakes. I'm sorry, they're snakes. But we will pick that up on Wednesday. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their week. Thanks for the resubs, Zorts. Thanks for the gift subs that you handed out. Greatly appreciate that. Thanks for the raids, Stone and friends. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening. Stay safe, everybody. Pay attention to your weather, depending on where you're at. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Don't forget to follow the socially links down below. They'll take you to the Blue Sky, the Ko-fi, the Instagram, and the YouTube channel. And I will see everyone tomorrow.